It is Tuesday, rawmikerichards.com, broadcasting live from the DKI studios in downtown Toronto. Coming up today, Tommy Europe, former Blue Bomber, and now a fitness guru. He's had a bunch of TV shows. He's got so much stuff going on. And he'll come in for Men's Fitness Week, of which, as you will see, he will join us in studio, and he is ripped. I don't know how else to put it, Dave. See those? You see the pictures of him with the sort of the Under Armour stuff?
He looks better now than he did when he played.
We'll ask him.
And
that.
when he played, he looked pretty damn good. He was one of those guys that could probably have run a fitness consulting business his entire life. That's how into it he has been, and he continues to do it at the age of 47. By the way, 47.
He's 47.
You got it.
Okay, well you're never going to guess
Turning
that.
48 in July.
He's not so good. Yeah, he is good. In fact, he's better than all of us. Also, we'll take a look today at R.J. Barrett, kind of a neat piece on Steve Nash's godson, as R.J. will be kind of the next big thing. And where does he choose to go to school, Dave? Duke.
Duke's coming here to play Ryerson, by the way, in the summer.
I beg your pardon?
Yeah, Duke's on a Canadian tour this summer. They're going to be at McGill, Ryerson. Where else, Rusty? Do you remember? Rusty, are you with me?
Not sure, but the game against Ryerson is at the Hershey Center in Mississauga.
Yeah, it's going to be a lot of fun. And they're traveling with their regular roster. They're not sending up the Graham team. You know what I mean? Graham team's good, though. Don't get me wrong. I mean, I love the Graham team, but I want to see the Dukies, as
God,
they say.
My father says, yeah. Boy, that should be a close game. Are you kidding me? Well, we'll see what happens. You want to see what it's like to play a gigantic monster? I guess if they're going to play now, again, it will be not in season, which they would never do anyway. But that is very interesting in a program that generally takes the best there is, but it's not as lopsided as it used to be because, let's be honest, your Coach Kell down there in Kentucky, you have a reputation for now sending players to the NBA, and that's kind of what it is all about. So we'll take a look at that. An interesting story indeed. We'll also what happened here? Sorry. The computer's kind of funny when it does that. What the hell? Okay, this is.
By the way, Duke Ryerson in August. I'm just looking for some dates here. August 17th at the Hershey Center. They'll meet the Ryerson Rams. Rams. Is that what you guys do?
Yeah, what Rams? Now being a former Ryerson Ram.
Rams. I'm gonna get you.
I think it's like more, the big ram horn.
Okay. See, that's better.
Yeah, until tip off. Then not as good.
No.
Could you guys please stop dunking on us? Like, come on.
That'll be interesting.
This should be fun, okay? This is what they call an exhibition. So I don't appreciate the moon dancing after every shot. You know what I mean? The
13 they play is the U of T, Varsity Blues.
Oh, really...
Not at football though. I'm just saying. Okay, go.
The Duke football team. You know what's funny? I'm trying to think of what coach was with the. It was with the Calgary Stampeders. It was the defense, and I'm drawing a blank. The defense end coach who was there for the 1 year, and he went to now Duke lately in the last 4 or 5 years, as you know, could play a little bit of football. All of a sudden, they're showing up as a football. But back in the day, he said, you'd go to the where they were having drinks off campus or whatever, and you come in, they say, "So what do you do?" He goes, "I'm scholarship guy at Duke." You play for the football or for the basketball team? And the first time he'd say, "No, I play for the football team." Oh, and they move away, and then he just started lying. Do you play for the basketball team? Yes, I do. I'm completely on the basketball team.
It's a way to do it.
There's a school, and here's the kicker: to get into that school, got to be smart.
Mm-hmm.
J.J. Redick was a Rhodes Scholar. That makes me sick. So not only can he make shots from at that time in college, for those who watched him play, from the concession stand, It looked like that. What was that McDonald's ad where it was Michael Jordan versus what was it, Magic, or
Larry
it was a
Bird?
Bird, or
Yeah,
Bird and Magic, or whatever that
one of
was, and they were shooting from like the moon and stuff. That's literally what JJ Redick looked like. So I also realized, speaking of JJ Redick, they are still talking about LeBron. A lot of LeBron hate out there right now, but we'll see where he ends up going. Is it Philadelphia? Boston's probably not out of the conversation either yet, surprisingly. But Houston looks like that is a big target. Now, if he goes to Houston, Houston wins. They will. I will go. If he ends up going to Houston and then coming back the other way, you'd see like an Eric Gordon probably, PJ Tucker and Nene would probably, some of those players. I still think it doesn't matter. They'll do it if they can do it. So we'll wait and see where the LeBron decision is. Although I don't believe it will be broadcast him sitting in a chair. People are mad enough when he showed up at the press conference the other day with the cast. He didn't get a lot of, I don't know if you saw that, Dave, but he showed up with the cast, and a lot of people are saying, okay. That's something that MJ wouldn't do. Mm-hmm. If you were able to play with it, then you're not going on a press conference showing that, you see, this is what I was playing with. In the day, Dave, guys didn't do that. You want to get in on this roast beef.
I just have a huge problem with that. Because I know LeBron has the history of people calling him a whiner, all this stuff. In hockey, when it's revealed that someone played a playoff series through an injury, everyone jumps to their defense and is like, this guy's like the best athlete ever. He can play through an injury. What a warrior. LeBron says, I broke my hand, and everyone's like, oh, wow, what a crybaby. Stop making excuses.
No, they were all over him. And
and I find that super hypocritical because it's coming from.
No, I see what you're getting.
It's coming
I
from the hockey fan base.
Well, but look, listening to the reaction of those south of the border, they're not big on it either. And this is, Dave, I think sometimes, and really Russell brought it up a little bit, why the reputation sometimes of guys, when you were talking about the greatest, basketball player of all time, now you're starting into this weird separation of the athletic side, like who was better. Mm-hmm. So a lot of people say, was it Michael Jordan the better, the actual basketball player than LeBron? Or who was the best NBA player? Like, if you're going to take it all in, now you're talking off court as well. And that's the kind of stuff that hurts LeBron. And, I'm far from a LeBron lover. In fact, I really am quite an admirer of what he does. But when that kind of stuff comes out, that in reputation is what hurts him. And people are going to talk about the decision. He was a kid. That was stupid. Dave, I can't believe his people said, it'd be a good idea if you go on ESPN and sit in a chair like the thinker and then tell people where you're going. That was terrible.
That was terrible.
And he was young.
And everybody who did that or suggested that to him probably should be fired. And you hope that they're not part of the actual LeBron decision-making process on this one. And if he goes somewhere else, which he likely will, don't do the same thing. Don't go on Fox. ESPN,
that was just such bad advice.
And
he was young,
terrible.
Dave. And he was really young. Look, how old? He would have been in his early 20s making that decision.
Yeah.
The decision.
Well, he was in Cleveland for, I'm guessing it's a little bit older than that, probably mid-20s. How long was he in Cleveland the first time? 4 or 5 years? Then he made that decision.
Because he right out of high school, right? So he's right out of high school.
Well, he's right out of high school. He plays for the Cavaliers, but then when does he make that decision? Right?
Yeah, and to me, that was just really a bad advice. Now, we see that our celebrity star is in the... Do we want to get to that earlier then, I think?
We can.
I think we should.
Oh, yeah. Do you want me to... I'll text with him.
Yeah, so here's what we're going to do. And as you will see, he's in extremely good shape. We've got some other stuff to show today, but why don't we start with... So Tommy's here for Men's Fitness Week, in which you had Dave said a study that came out that said 70, what was it? 72%?
72% of men, let's see. It was interesting.
Live an unhealthy lifestyle.
Yeah, 72 Canadian men live an unhealthy lifestyle.
Way to go, Russell.
Yeah.
You're
part of that 72%.
Way to pull the whole thing down.
If you weren't part of that, it would have been like 70.
Yeah. Yeah, you are 2% of the population, you and your crazy lifestyle. Having cookies and rye for breakfast. That's just terrible.
It makes no sense.
No, but delicious. Delicious. Okay, so let's take a look at these are 5 of the exercises that Tommy said you need to have in your routine. And you know what, Dave? What's interesting? Very easy to understand because it's really old school. But sometimes Old school is the best way. We'll talk to Tommy Europe right after this.
The top 5 exercises that I recommend everybody include in their workout plan are the following: squats, burpees, push-ups, the plank, and lunges. The reason those 5 exercises should be part of your everyday workout plan are because they're full body exercises. The squat, everybody thinks about the butt and the legs, but it's really a full body exercise, especially when you're adding a load. You are working your upper body, you are working your core, hamstrings, butt, calves, everything's working, everything works as one. The burpee, it's a full body exercise. You're working your upper body, you're working your lower body. It's a cardio drill. Do 10 of them and you'll see exactly what I mean. The plank is an awesome exercise because it works your overall core. It forces your body to engage. Yes, you're working your core, but then you end up working your shoulders, you end up working your legs as well. Push-ups are an oldie but a goodie. You want to make sure you're doing those correctly. They obviously work your core, they work your upper body. Everybody thinks chest with push-ups, but depending on how you do them, you can really work your triceps extremely hard, work your core extremely hard, and it ends up being a full body workout. Lunges are a great exercise. Everybody thinks lower body, but it's a full body exercise, especially when you add a load. You can have a bar on your back, you can have dumbbells in your hand, you can have a plate on your chest. Your core is going to be engaged, your back's going to be straight, plus you get that entire lower body blast. So your butt, your quads, your hamstrings, your calves, everything gets worked. And if you add a little bit of jump to it, it makes it a plyometric type exercise, which is very exhausting, just like any typical cardio exercise that'll push you to the max.
It is right there. Tommy Europe telling you how to get into shape. And as I said beforehand, those suggestions, those top 5 exercises are old school. They're very simple. You don't need a lot of equipment. You're not going out and buying stuff. You don't have to join a gym. You just have to be diligent with yourself. A little bit of discipline, which apparently in this room seems to be fading. I mean, and so we welcome Tommy Europe in the studio right there.
Welcome, Tom.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
Former Blue Bomber number 13.
Yes, sir.
There was before we get to all the fitness stuff, we've had a lot of talk for some reason about all things Winnipeg.
Some reason. How does that happen?
Yeah, some reason. And people said, and people talk about, when your number one quarterback goes down. And look, I'm not saying it's been that way forever, but quarterbacks and the ones that win, they just don't grow on trees. It takes time, and especially when you're talking to the CFL, where they may have to learn that game. And so Nichols goes down for the Bombers, and I'm sure you still got friends and people that you're close to. That was just a real shame because now it becomes a little bit of a panic, doesn't it?
I wouldn't really say a panic. It all kind of depends on they've got a great running game. If they can have some ball control, they've got all the big boys on defense. So that's definitely going to help them. And I've been on tons of teams where the defense would just carry the weight as long as the offense doesn't mess up and turn the ball over. Good things can still happen.
Well, Bombers. There's been some Bombers teams where the defense was the star of the team.
Yes, yeah. Well, you're
Many.
looking at one of them. Coach Ritchie was a little bit of a defensive specialist, even though he was the head coach of the team at the time.
Defensive heavy, and then his thing was whether we play half the game or the full game. It's up to us to kind of pull it to bring it home, and I think that's what the Bombers are going to have to do, especially early through the season. Probably it's not going to be easy, but again, I can remember playing in Winnipeg, and we're playing Edmonton, and Jason Moss got knocked out, and we're like, yeah, this Ricky Ray guy was coming in. Oh, we got this, guys, we got this. And it was like, oh, damn. And then, that was the entrance of our introduction to Ricky Ray. So
wow.
It can work the other way for you as well, because the teams, if they don't come prepared to play, that your starter isn't there, it can bite you in the butt.
Let me ask you this, because Mike and I were talking about this probably around 10:01-ish, just when we were starting our show and stuff like that. You've always been in awesome shape. Are you in better health right now, retired out of the game, older? I know, obviously, it's a different football shape. It's not football shape, but looking at you, you look like you could start today if the CFL kicked off on a Tuesday.
I'm definitely in better shape now. I think what people don't realize, they see the games. They don't see, and obviously when I was playing, we were hitting every day in practice.
Yeah.
There was no... if you got knocked out, you sat out 3 plays and came back in.
Yeah.
So it's a different time, obviously, but very hard on the body, and you're playing catch up the whole time.
Sure.
And then your off season is kind of getting your body back into getting healthy. But as soon as that season starts, it's a downhill slide. So I think I used to laugh because all the guys on the team would be like, "Just wait, Europe. Just wait till you're done. Those abs are gone." I was like, "Are you kidding me?
Yeah.
When I'm done, I'm not going to be getting beat up. Although I'm a stunt man now, so
I was going to say
I still am getting beat up.
Still
but,
a TV star too. It's just
yeah,
a little bit easier.
It's a little bit easier on the body, and just just smarter and just making better decisions, better choices,
Right.
Healthier overall, definitely.
And at some point when you're playing football, sometimes you got to carry a little bit of weight. I
Yep.
mean, you're not looking. I wouldn't say you're not looking in front of the mirror, but as I hear from every single player in all professional football, the guys who take the most heat for looking at themselves in the mirror are defensive backs, those that and receivers and receivers.
I think receivers. I think.
Oh,
know,
you think?
it's
I
the
think,
receivers.
I think you played with a number 85.
Yeah, I played with a few receivers that like
Yeah.
to look good and did the part. But definitely, it's sometimes you do have to carry some extra weight, especially depending on your position, just to kind of withstand the beating that you're going to take throughout the season, throughout each and every game, just to make it through.
Now you have now ventured into that area of fitness that I'll be honest, a lot of football players don't, because there is a. They joked about you losing the abs, but quite honestly, some of these guys when they go, if they're from the southern states,
Yeah.
they're going back to eat. And that food is good. And sometimes they go, why do you put on so much weight? Because they had to sacrifice everything from about the age of 14 to maybe in their 30s.
Yeah, I mean,
And now it's fun time. And a lot of guys, it'd be very difficult to be honest, to maintain what they had.
It's different depending on position.
Yes.
There's offensive linemen that if you looked at them 10 years later, you would think they were receivers. There's DBs. 10 years later, you'd think they played O-line. So it really depends on the person.
Yeah.
Depends on what they have going on and the injuries that you sustain during. I feel my injuries when I'm inactive, which isn't very often. And obviously, one of the reasons I'm here in Toronto is celebrating Men's Health Week. I'm doing I partnered with the Canadian Men's Health Foundation, and it's just making fellas make better choices, make healthier choices.
What's the biggest offender when you talk about choices? For most men in Canada, what is it?
Well, the five they did a recent study, and the 5 areas that they're looking at as far as determining your overall health: diet, exercise, sleep, smoking, and excessive drinking. So
Well, why do they got to put the last one
Well,
on
you
there?
know, it's-
As an Irish person, I'm a wee bit offended about that.
a little bit of everything is good. So we really want to focus on those 5 markers. If you're 5 out of 5, then you're completely healthy. But the studies show that 72% of men are in the unhealthy category. And
Interesting.
that's something has to change.
And people don't talk about, Dave and I talk about it all the time, sleep.
Yes.
Now, we generally were morning guys, so I know that we were sleep. I mean, I did that for over 30 years, and I know I was sleep deprived because I would take a couple hours in the afternoon.
Yep.
And they say it doesn't matter. That's still not going to make up for how many hours you truly need. Because if you think about it, as your body is a vehicle, then it needs gas, it needs rest, it needs all those things. And you're saying we probably don't do it the right
Sleep
way.
is very important, and the target is 7 to 8 hours of sleep is ideal to give your body that chance to recover and repair and keep you mentally sharp for the next day. I mean, you guys know, and I've been the same way as well. If you don't get a lot of sleep, you're not thinking as clearly. Things go a little bit slower. And, you have these little fixes, whether it's caffeine or energy drinks, things like that kind of, don't really help on the diet side of things. So, yeah, getting enough sleep, 7 to 8 hours is ideal. Exercising, minimum 30 minutes a day, 5 days a week. It doesn't have to be a crazy, gym workout. It could be body weight stuff. It could be classes. Could be going for a walk, going for a hike. Just getting yourself active. And I think one of the things I take from some of the retired players who played before me, the ones who are very fit, is they never stop moving. And that's the kind of the approach that I take. I'm never going to let myself get out of shape. I'm always going to keep on moving. And then that way there's definitely no limits.
There's a lot of different tips, and I'm just reading some of the information that was sent on for celebrating Men's Health Week. Breakfast like a champion. A lot of people, and I'll admit it, from time to time, when you're taking care of the 2 kids and you're getting ready for this, you skip breakfast.
Yep.
And that's a big no-no, isn't it?
Huge. I mean, your body's fasting overnight. So if you're sleeping for 5 to 8 hours, you're hungry. You need food.
Sure.
You need fuel to go. And if you don't have it, that's when the bad choices come in, because now you're hungry. You're going to probably start off with some coffee and then grab something fast and quick and usually unhealthy.
Yep.
And then it just sets you in a downward spiral throughout the day. And that's why, really focusing on, I tell people go for 5 to 6 meals per day. So you're eating every 2 to 3 hours, keeping that metabolism running as quickly as possible, and really upping your veggies and fruits.
Okay, give me a suggestion then. I
breakfast?
have okay, in between doing this and getting ready, everything like that, I probably got a good 10 to 15 minutes tops. I don't have time for, and I'm not going to have a big lumberjack breakfast, because that isn't good either.
No.
But give me something that I could put together in 5 to 7 minutes, maybe
like
less.
oatmeal?
I don't mind oatmeal.
So I do steel cut oats. And
That's
what
very popular, isn't it? The steel cut
Yep.
oats.
And what I'll do, I'll put them, soak them overnight.
Yeah.
So that the next morning,
Yeah.
as soon as I boil them, it doesn't take you 20 minutes. It takes like 5.
Oh, so soak them in water overnight.
Soak them in water overnight.
Okay.
And then cook them. Keep them in the same water, because it releases all the minerals.
Do you leave it? Okay, say you put it in a, I'm getting
Yep.
to the bottom of this,
Yep.
because I know people are listening to
Yeah.
this for
You know
sure.
who does that? Jordan and Linda both do what he just
So
said.
great. Do you put it in
Yeah.
the fridge, or
No,
you just
no.
leave it out?
I leave it out on the stove, and then I cook it the next
And you just
morning.
go click, on
Yep.
it goes.
And I'll put Udo's Choice Ultimate Oil Blend. It's omega 3, 6, and 9.
Yeah.
Get the healthy fats in
Yeah,
there.
I do have that. The
And
fish
if
oils.
you don't like the complete taste of oatmeal and things like that, then you can add some fruits. I'll add a scoop of whey protein powder as well, just to make it a complete meal. So
Right.
you have your protein, you have your carbs, you have your fats.
That's interesting. I never thought about putting
Yep.
Is yours flavored the way?
Nope.
Protein? No.
Just plain, just vanilla.
Just plain.
Yeah.
Because it's it's interesting. My cousin out in Victoria who owns a couple of the Popeyes.
Yep.
Chris Kinnear, and when he played lacrosse, he was no fear Kinnear. So what are you fighting for? What's going on in your life? Stop it. So I said, so here I am. I'm 54. I said I'm going to start doing these things. I would like to start doing stuff from a supplement standpoint. He said, what is the most important? He said the fish oil.
Yep.
The fish oil is really important.
Well, if you, like
Liquid.
Udo's Choice, so Udo Erasmus, if you Google him, you'll see tons of stuff on him. His product, and I'm not sponsored by them, so
Right.
there's nothing like that. I've been using it for many, many years.
Yeah.
Well, you got to,
Oh, absolutely, no.
And so it's omega 3, 6, and 9, and it's actually better than regular fish oils. Your body metabolizes it a lot better and uses the fuel. And you're hearing a lot of the stuff like ketone diets and being in ketosis, and that really means adding more healthy fats to your diet.
Now, a lot of the diet supplements, even the supplement industry as a whole, and you see a lot of stuff on television. It's for a lot of people who maybe have never had good workout routines. Maybe they weren't athletic. Maybe the gym or just doing physical activity wasn't their thing.
Mm-hmm.
So we're a society that wants everything out of a bottle.
Easy. We want it
Yeah.
easy and
Yes.
want it fast, and
Yes.
everyone's looking for that magic pill and not doing the work. You got to do the work.
Yeah.
You got to move around. You got to be active. It's going to help you. It's an investment in yourself, and that's how I kind of tell it to people. Everything that you do, you're the sole beneficiary of it, and it's never too late until it's too late. A lot of men, and it's from the studies, a lot of men. The reason we're trying to get this prevention out there for Men's Health Week, do that rather than God forbid, get some disease, or you get really sick and then you're like, oh, I wish I would have. Well, don't wish. Just start moving now. And if you go to don'tchangemuch.ca, it's got
Yes.
a lot of tools, a lot of tips for guys and women too, just to lead happy, healthier lives.
Yeah, and in that there's a section that probably fits a lot of the audience today: half fries, half salad.
Yep.
Where a lot of people will go out for that lunch. Fries it is. It's like, but if you take those little steps,
Yeah.
as you mentioned,
Yep.
fries are delicious. I'm going to eat fries forever. But make sure you include some of the greens too. It's probably what you're saying.
Yeah, and it's just making better choices. And I'm an 80-20 guy, so I'm eating the right things and doing the right things 80% of the time.
Right.
That way, I'll eat fries, I'll eat poutine, I'll eat gummy bears, I'll eat some of these things that aren't the healthiest for me, but they're a very small percentage of my overall diet, so I'm not concerned about it.
Well, it's like a lot of people, at a certain age, have a philosophy that is, if you're going to enjoy some of those things, or wine,
Enjoy them.
or delicious cocktails, then you're gonna have to burn it somewhere.
Yeah,
So
exactly.
even if it's walking or getting on a bike or if you're able to go to a gym, but it's interesting because you get to a certain point where if you were in the gym
Yep.
and you get a little older, Like you're going back in there, you're cracking your neck. You're like, how you doing? You got Under Armour stuff on there, and you haven't lifted weight in like 20 years.
Exactly.
And that is dangerous because you might even remember what you did, and you don't do that now.
One of the downfalls for men, especially men who played sports or were athletic, if they've been out of it for decades, they come back and they try to compare themselves to what they used to be and how strong they used to be, and that's what they know. That's and it's the ego.
Said every guy and has every guy ever.
You mean when I was in high school? I can't. Damn it, Tom.
And but it's you got to forget about where you were. This is where you are right now, and just work on getting better each and every day. That way, it takes the immediacy out of it. And I think for a lot of people, especially if they haven't worked out before, they figure, oh well, I worked out 3 days this week. Okay, it's a lifelong thing. Yeah. It's not a quick fix. It's a lifelong thing, and that's what people have to have.
Not a word of a lie. A couple of weeks ago, I started summer hockey. I haven't played ice hockey, like on the ice, in a couple of years. Put on the skates, went out there, and I was talking to a buddy, and I was like, man, I'm crap. I used to play junior. I used to be proud of myself. And then all of a sudden it's like, whew, but you're right. It's like, I can't sit there, and that's what I'm trying to deal with. I can't sit there and say
it's a mental game, and it's
this version
torture.
of me isn't that version of me. And it's like, you sit there and you go, no, really, I used to be good.
See,
I did. I honestly.
If I was sitting beside you, I'd be like, I used to be 12.
Yeah,
but I'm not 12 anymore. You don't want to be the youth. Anytime I'm talking to somebody and it comes like, I used to, I walk away.
Yeah.
Yeah,
honestly, I've cut that.
But that is a real guy trait. I mean, as a lot of people who follow the show and watched it and even on TSN 1050, I guess 3 years ago, I was diagnosed with rectal cancer. And so you go through that, you come out on the other side, God bless, cancer-free, everything worked out great, and currently have an ostomy bag. So I wanted to get back and do some stuff, and it becomes a little more difficult simply because of this thing. So, there's my wife who they look at, my son, diligent working out. He said, just don't go too hard. I mean, don't do that. So, of course, I go in, hey, guys, how's it going? I'm going to do a chest today. Work on the traps or whatever. Hey, high five. Oh, my God. And so you're in there, and you can just feel everything not going to say, I won't do it today. I don't want to kill myself. I get too pumped up and too big. Stupid.
And
I mean, so bad.
I have this conversation as well because I do. I mean, I still lift heavy weights, but I do body weight stuff. I do a lot of core training. I do MMA. So I do a wide variety of things just to keep myself active, and so I don't overuse.
Now, when you say MMA, what does that mean?
So mixed martial arts. So
no, but are you saying a training style, or you actually participate?
Participate, yeah. So a place in Vancouver called Gibson's MMA, and Lance Gibson, he fought in the UFC in the early days of that, and so I trained with him. Julia Budd is his wife, and she's the Bellator champion.
Right.
His son is a champion as well. So it's awesome fitness. Obviously, I like keeping myself ready to go just in case. I've got 2 daughters who are 7 and 8 now. So
7 and 8. Yeah.
I got 10. I figure in 6 or 7 years, and the boys come over, I'll be like, hey.
I know.
Remember me?
Yeah.
All right. Do I have to say anything?
I got 2 girls too. Tommy.
Yeah. But what? Then the guy's gonna go. Right. I used to. Okay. Yeah.
I used to be 12.
Yeah, I heard that.
I've got a gym in my house, so my tactic right now is take them down. Hey, let's go for a workout.
Yeah.
And get them down there, and let them know what's happening.
The Europe dungeon, eh?
Exactly.
I was gonna say yeah.
Drinking water.
Yes.
So many people do not take this serious enough that you have to get X amount. What is the number of cups of water? Because you hear it should be this. No, that's too much. It should be this. That's not enough.
I'm going to give you the easiest way to know your water consumption. Take your body weight in pounds, divide it in half. That's how many ounces of water you need to drink. So I'm just around 200 pounds, 205. So say roughly 100 ounces of water per day. When you're exercising, that's going to go up a little bit because obviously you're perspiring and you're losing some of that water. Dehydration will make you feel hungry. Yes. It'll make you feel tired. It'll make you feel lethargic. So it's definitely something that you want to avoid. It lubricates your muscles, helps you move better, helps you think better. And overall, it's free for the most part.
Oh yeah.
Especially if you're in Vancouver and you can actually drink out of the tap.
Yeah, people in Flint.
true.
If you're in Flint,
If you're in
don't
Flint,
try it.
don't do this. Don't do this if you're in
it.
Flint.
No, you can grow a third arm. Yeah.
Exactly. So yeah, that's the easiest way to know how much water you should be drinking. And then, yeah, just stay away from, as many sugary drinks as possible. You hear all the things about the energy drinks and how much sugar and the caffeine.
Okay, so talk about that, because that's an industry completely unto itself, which just went crazy. And then you see Monster this and blah, blah, blah. Is there any reason legitimately that you can take any of those things, including Red Bull?
And when I say this, I've used a lot of them over the years.
Yes.
And then just as you get more education on it, if you actually read the ingredient label and see how much sugar and how much crap you're actually putting into your system, and there's people I know who they'll drink 2 or 3 of those each and every day.
Sure.
It's it's an energy rush, but then it comes with a crash. Anytime you're having caffeine and too much caffeine, you have a little bit of an up period, but then you crash afterwards. So trying to stay away from those as much as possible. Replace it with water. Stay away from the pops, whether they're diet Coke, zero calorie, all the stuff they're coming out with. It's just, I call it smoke and mirrors.
Sure,
And-
tricks.
Right.
Yeah.
You don't drink pop,
Not
really.
really.
No, I'm not
really.
a pop drinker.
I'm more of a water guy. I've never had coffee in my life.
Really?
Yeah, never. I know my wife and her family thinks I'm pretty weird.
That
Yeah.
is weird.
It is
I
weird.
need my coffee. I
Yeah.
need my coffee.
And this is coming from a morning show guy
Yeah.
that So we're getting some listener email from our live YouTube string. They have a question for you, Tommy.
Okay.
When should a person stop eating at night? Because a lot of times you'll run across a situation where it's late night eaters. So
Yep.
when is the time to stop eating? Prior to whatever designated time you actually go to sleep? When's the drop dead period?
Ideally, you're looking at somewhere between 7 and 8 o'clock for most people. And it really depends how late you're going to be up, how much you're going to be moving. And the reason you don't want to eat late is because that's normally when you're inactive. So
Yes.
whatever you eat, you eat late night snacking, or you go drinking with the boys.
That's I think
and
that's what
have
you're
some
getting at.
poutine and have some wings or Chinese food or whatever your pleasure is. That's not going anywhere because you're not moving at all. It's just kind of sitting on you. So it's those empty calories that kind of add on to you. So if you do have late night cravings or things like that, have something lighter, whether it's a salad or something that's going to be readily digested and not just going to be sitting in you. Because obviously we all know what that feeling is like that next day. And if you're sleeping with anybody, your partner probably knows what it's like to smell in that bed. Because those gases are coming out one way or another.
Yes, they are.
Very true.
When you talked about those top 5 exercises, couldn't help but notice that they're really old school, and there must be a reason for it because they work. So a lot of people think I need to join a gym, I need to buy one of those DVDs, I need to do a lot of this stuff. Where you're saying, push-ups, sit-ups, calisthenics, burpees, those kinds of things. They're significant.
It's definitely not a limitation saying that if you can't get to a gym that you can't do anything. Sometimes go to a playground, do pull-ups. There's lots of different things you can do. You can run on a track, run in a field. Push-ups, you can climb things, climb ropes, climb trees, climb ladders. Squat lunges, stairs.
Pull-ups. If people are going, yeah, so what's that do? Dude, try some right now. I dare you to
Seriously,
go up
yeah,
and
you're
see
right.
how many you can do if you haven't exercised. If you can do one, it's a miracle.
At some point you're gonna have to lift your body up.
Yeah.
And I had a conversation with a colleague, and I said, who hates doing upper body exercises. She's standing outside the window, and I don't think she can hear me right now, so that's okay. And I said, at some point you're gonna have to either lift you or your boyfriend up. And she's like, I'm just gonna tell him we ain't gonna make it.
So the name of the website, don'tchangemuch.ca. It's with Canadian Men's Health Foundation.
Yes.
There's a section of it that's kind of interesting, in particular to me, because I've said this before and I want verification. Okay, bananas, is that almost like the original protein bar that first started the craze of and then people started saying, let's see how we can improve it. Bananas is almost like the go-to cheaper way of doing it, maybe the healthier way at some stages of it. Do you recommend bananas
It's potassium in that
as
mostly.
that energy replacement?
Bananas are just one of many.
Yeah.
And there's times that people like work out in the morning and they don't eat anything. And I said, if you're in a pinch and you want to have an energy burst,
Yes.
have a banana or have a scoop of peanut butter and half a glass of orange juice because it's got the sugars in it. But you're going to be burning those off immediately because that's what's going to give you energy to get going and do those morning workouts.
I've seen people with over the years apple and cheese.
Yep.
So they're achieving what the protein is the cheese.
Yeah. So you, basically, when you're eating, you want to think of having a protein source, a carb source, and a fat source to have a complete meal. So the apples and the cheese, obviously, by adding protein to your meals, it stays in you a little bit longer, so you have more staying power, as opposed to just having a carb, which can, and if it's a fruit, it's going to get out of your system very quickly. Add as many vegetables as you can. Leafy green vegetables are ideal, and just add those to your overall meal and your overall routine, and you will definitely see benefits to it. And with obviously the exercise on top of that. And when I train people worldwide, especially a lot of online training, and everyone who wants the info on that is Tommy Europe Fitness. So tefitness.com. You can find some information there. And just I like giving people just simple tips that they can do anywhere, anytime, and depending on what somebody has as far as access to equipment or whatever part of the world they live in. I'll put exercises and programs based on those parameters.
Getting another question via
Yes.
Twitter. Let's see. I just had it here. Sorry, guys. That's it. Post-workout routine. What do you do to fuel up after a hard workout, even if it's something like 15, 20 minutes of cardio, 15, 20 minutes of weights, whatever it works out? How do you refuel yourself properly after a workout?
Ideally, this is where some supplements will come into effect to work a lot more efficiently for you. So BCAAs, or branched-chain amino acids, will replace the minerals that you lose through exercise, through sweat, and they'll help replenish you again. Other than that, yes, there's some people have protein shakes afterwards.
Shakes are great. I like
shakes
the
are great
shakes.
after.
And easy to do, right?
Easy to do, just so you get, and it's a liquid, so it's going to be absorbed to your body immediately. Ideally, you want to have something within the first 30 minutes after you finish working out. And by having a good protein source, it's going to help your muscles start that repair as early as possible.
What about in those shakes where they say, do you want a little, like you can put creatine or what, any of that stuff? Does any of that, depending on your level of fitness and what you're going for, does it make sense?
It definitely does make sense. I mean, when I'm lifting heavy, I use creatine, I use branched-chain amino acids, because for me it helps me recover. One of the other supplements I use is Sierra Sil, which I am sponsored by, and it's a bone and joint supplement, which works amazing.
Apparently in 14 days.
Within 14 days, it'll be in your system. Yep. Okay. And I've been taking it before I was sponsored by them as well, for probably the last 8 years. And for me, it's from coming off of football, anytime for pain, it's like, take this pill, take that pill, And obviously we have the opioid epidemic that's going crazy right now. So just I want to I want to treat my body right. I want to treat my body a lot better than I had in the past, and really relying less on drugs and opioids, whether they're Tylenols or anything like that for pain and for recovery, and just try to use more natural sources, foods and things like that.
What about guys who may be consistent gym guys? They always have been, and sometimes you'll find a pre-gym sort of, and they always have names like Crank or Extreme Fuel.
The pre-workout
formulas?
formulas?
Yes.
I use them sparingly. I use them when I need them. So if I'm literally tired, I'm like, I might use it.
Yeah.
There's guys that use it every day, women that use it every day as well. I wouldn't recommend it. Once you start using them, just like anything else, you're going to need more and more. And it comes to a point where I know people that they're so used to using these pre-workout formulas to train that if they do not have it, they can't work out. And that's not a situation that you want to find yourself in. So read the ingredients. I mean, they're all different. PVL has a really good pre-workout formula. But again, it's not something that I would rely on.
Cool. We know you got to get running. Thank you again.
Oh, I do have to show him something before we go, though, Dave.
Okay. Let's get a West Division, East Division Grey Cup final. Who do you like quickly? Because I know you got other commitments, and we do appreciate you coming here.
No problem at all.
We're gonna have to have you on again, maybe even by phone too.
Yeah, definitely.
We can catch you in Vancouver.
Yep.
And BC Sports Hall of Fame, by the way.
Oh,
I know.
there you go.
I think it's a matter of time until you're part of that Bomber Hall of Fame, because Robert Gordon, your old buddy, he's being inducted.
Is he being inducted?
Yeah,
Okay.
he's being inducted, and I'm thinking, if Gordon's in there, Tommy Europe's going to be in there.
Well, trust me, Tommy's upset about this. He's livid about this. He's just not saying it.
I didn't mean to leave him on this note.
But you know what? Things like that, I mean, it's truly an honor. Like, I'm in the BC Sports Hall of Fame, and at Bishop's University, I'm on their Wall of Distinction, and they're all amazing honors. And if you get them, you get them. If you don't get, it's not something, you're waiting for it, like trying to get in the Hall of Fame. But it's just recognition, and if it happens, it happens. It's, I don't hold anything against it. But as far as the contenders for the Grey Cup this year, I
West
think
is pretty
the
good,
West
man.
The West is pretty loaded.
Five good teams.
But I'm going with BC and Winnipeg.
Okay.
And all depending on the quarterback situation. Obviously, in Winnipeg, BC's got 2 or 3 good quarterbacks.
Yes, I know. Brings them over.
And much better than people give him credit for. To be honest, at the beginning of the year, nobody gave him any credit.
Yeah. So I think those 2 are the front runners, definitely. Edmonton, they've had a lot of changes. Saskatchewan should be pretty good as well.
Yeah.
You never know how Chris Jones is going to motivate his guys.
And cut a whole bunch of receivers the other day, some big ones too.
So he has people like, nobody's safe.
No.
In the East, again, they're pretty much tight right across the board. But anytime you have somebody like Ricky Ray, if he's on top of his game, it's hard to bet against the Argos. Hamilton, they'll be obviously strong contenders. I think Montreal's still going to struggle because they don't have a legitimate starter.
That's right.
We'll see how that kind of plays out. And plus, they did a lot of restructuring on their defense as well. So we'll see how it plays out for them. And Ottawa, again, they're a team that could be really good or really bad. Depends on which team shows up on the day. It seems they weren't as consistent. So I would say definitely Toronto. Toronto would be my front runner again, unless something happens to Ricky Ray.
Well, I quickly tried to get one of your highlights, and unfortunately, the only one I could find this morning was courtesy of someone playing Madden 10 on EA Sports. So I want you to take a look at this. It's you're playing the Alouettes here, so let's go to it now. There's Calvillo. Calvillo is looking. He's going to throw over the middle, and oh boy, there he is. There's Europe. He's at midfield. He's going to go.
Am I going backwards? Am I turning backwards?
He's going to the 30. He's the 20. He is gone. It is a touchdown, Bombers.
I like it.
What did you see on that? What did you see on that play? What tipped you off that it was going your way?
AC is
one of the best, and AC is not going. I know he's not going to hold the ball long at all because he does not want to get hit. He was a thrower and a ducker at the same time. So if you get people in his face, he's getting the ball away quickly, and probably looking for Cahoon.
Exactly.
That's great. Up to you, Dave.
Yeah.
Let's go back up to you, Dave. Look, thank you so much for coming in. It's always a pleasure. Great stuff,
Likewise.
too. Such a good guy.
Thanks for having me.
And as we go out with Tom, I think what we'll do is take a look at RJ Barrett, I think. So it's what they really believe is probably going to be the next big thing, as they say. And a lot of people don't realize that. And, of course, now in basketball, a lot of Canadians are going to go to that prep school.
Yep.
Like a lot of it, and then they're going to move on. And, of course, RJ Barrett has to pick Duke.
I hate Duke.
I know. Of all the places, Duke. And people don't realize, a lot of people may not know, he's Steve Nash's godson. So here's a little piece as Tommy heads out. This is what you can expect to see at the University of Duke. Nice piece done here.
I feel like I could do everything on the court.
R.J. Barrett, the bounce pass and the jam.
Really just trying to be the best player I could be.
It's a bonus when your godson is the best 17-year-old basketball player on the planet.
Nash became the godfather of the future #1 ranked high school basketball player through his friendship with RJ's father, Rowan. A friendship formed when Steve and Rowan played together on the Canadian national team.
He's my godfather, so whenever I need something, just a quick text and he gets back to me.
You think about who in your life could you trust. If you're not there and your kid has to grow, who could you trust to be there to teach him the right things, to model the right behaviors? For me, that definitely was Steve.
During our playing careers, we had a really strong bond that I think will last forever and has been much of the reason why Rowan asked me to be RJ's godfather. The last time I played RJ one-on-one was 2015 in the summer. I beat him. It was closer than I would have liked it to be, and I'm gonna take that win and run with it and hopefully never have to defend it in my life.
I remember watching them play some one-on-one, and Big RJ was maybe 14. The game was physical, and Steve put a little wood on him. It was fun.
Feeling he was outgrowing the competition in his hometown of Mississauga, Canada, RJ told his father he wanted to transfer to high school basketball powerhouse Montverde Academy outside of Orlando, Florida.
Son, are you sure this is what you want to do? And he said, Dad, I'm ready.
When I moved to Montverde Academy and I was able to go to Jordan Brand International game and just started Steve Owen from there, that really showed me that I could really play at this level.
And we want RJ to be coached. No easy ride, make it difficult, make it hard. Put him through the fire because you need to prepare him for everything.
In 2017, Barrett's confidence and abilities brought him to the international stage where he would represent Canada in the Under-19 FIBA World Championship. On average, he was 2 years younger than all other players.
We did it. We finally did it, right? We're on top of the world.
He gets inside there, and Wiley. Oh, and Barrett follows up.
This summer, I won the MVP of the FIBA U19 World Championships, and that was one of the main factors in me reclassifying and going to 2018.
Unbelievable. He is just utterly sensational, folks.
RJ being the star of the show, even though he was a couple years younger than everybody, it was a long time coming and a lot of hard work and a lot of, I think, execution on a vision that was developing players.
Barrett reclassified up from the 2019 to the 2018 recruiting class. He will attend college a year early, committing to Duke University, and he would check another goal off of his list, finishing high school as the #1 overall ranked recruit.
That is the story. Once again, that is courtesy of our good friends at Bleacher Report. That was a wonderful job on what you can expect to see if you're a Duke fan, like my father. You're getting one heck of a player. You're watching Raw Mike Richards either on the .com on our website, or as we like to see you, continue to subscribe to the YouTube channel, the dedicated Raw Mike Richards YouTube channel. Also like to thank Tommy Europe for coming in and, not all, obviously like a tremendous athlete. You see the shape he's in, the great work he's done with people from coast to coast in this country. You've seen him on network television. He's also one of the good guys. I mean, and
really is.
And Dave, that's the one thing about the CFL that I can consistently say over the years. They're really good people. They're the great guys, and he's a great example of that.
Yeah, I met him back in 2001. You probably remember it because you were in Calgary at the time, where the Bombers dominated the entire league, only to fall to the Stampeders in the Grey Cup final in Montreal in one of the biggest BS games in the history of sport, because the Bombers should have annihilated everybody along the way. The Stampeders.
It was Kahari Jones.
Kahari Jones, yeah, one of the good guys too. I mean, that team was loaded. You guys had Tom Europe that we just talked to, Kahari Jones, Hall of Famer, Milt Stegall, the greatest receiver, or one of the greatest receivers in the history of the CFL, Robert Gordon, guys like that. It was awesome. Dave Ritchie was arguably the best coach I've ever covered, as far as at the personal level, where he would sit there and ask about your family, your girlfriend, your wife, your whoever and he'd actually know. He was one of those guys that would actually sit there and say, "Oh, how is so and so?" And it's like, the guy was the coach that was everybody's grandfather as well.
Yeah, was he from Massachusetts or the East Coast? Didn't he have that kind of accent? I want to say
a little bit of one. Yeah. I don't remember off the top of my head, but
it always seemed like a little bit. If you were talking to him, like I never did, but if you were up close, it would sound like RG Bunker. Like, gee, what do you think happened on that defensive play? And you'd be like, oh, geez, there, that player there. Like, he always seemed to not be in a good mood when the game was on. But he was a long time coach up here, and he got jobs.
And he was everywhere. Yeah, he was a defensive guru that also became a head coach. And to this day, that Bomber team at that time should have won the Grey Cup and just didn't do it.
Once again, Dave has seen history different through the eyes of someone in Winnipeg. They should have been the Grey Cup winners in Montreal that year. We just had Tommy Europe talking about those in shape. Well, if you haven't seen, I don't know if you have, Andrew Luck. Now, this is one of their local affiliates, WISH, Wish TV, but they're at camp. And look, Andrew Luck has always been a sizable guy. And you know what him not being on that Colts team, what that did to them. Well, apparently he must be taking, I don't know, some kind of Tom Europe extreme fitness, because He looks like a monster. I don't ever recall him being this big. He's always been big.
Oh, yeah.
But once again, courtesy of WISH and the Indianapolis Colts, let's take a look at Frankenstein.
Andrew Luck is a changed man. Andrew the person, still the same by all accounts. He's still reading and biking and being Andrew. But do you recall him looking like this? It's the image that strong-armed the internet over the weekend.
Nah, not at all. When I first seen him, I was like, who is this guy? Now I seen his face. I was like, dang, I'm putting on some weight. And probably why I didn't get that sack when we played him. He a little stiff for him and stuff. He got a little stronger, but I see why now.
Yeah, he's putting some of us to shame, I think. He's got some of that, a little bit more tone than some of us bigger guys, I would say. But no, it's funny. I saw like a picture the other day, I think, of him like right after his surgery and him now, and it's pretty funny to see.
Are you holding him in the weight room against his will? Is this guy getting any time?
No, I think I think he's doing quite well in the weight room, out of the weight room. Just encouraged by everything we see.
We're looking around for Andrew Luck today at the Colts complex. He was not at OTAs today. Coach Reich says no reason to worry. He's just out working out somewhere else. As for Luck's teammates, though, they're a little concerned that their quarterback is lapping them in the weight room at the moment.
Oh, yeah.
Well, don't worry about that because, trust me, you're going to – him just being in shape doesn't guarantee what they're going to do next year, Dave, because they got a lot of deficiencies on that team.
And it's a tough division, right? You're looking at three teams that are probably better than them, because the Jaguars are the Jaguars, and I think they're going to continue to build off of what they did last year. The Titans are very good now, new coach in place as well, and the Texans are going to get their starting quarterback back, which before he went down with an injury, Watson looked like he was going to lead the team to a division title. So I have the Colts down as fourth. So if there's if you could sit there and say they're top four in the division. The only problem is, Mike, there's only 4 teams in that division.
Other things that I wanted to get to today, at this time of year, that's where you see, you're going to sort of look at different sports now. Russell, I don't know if you have that, the women's 4x4. This is at Hayward Field in Eugene, Oregon. So you're talking about the NCAA. This is the championships. This is the Kendall Ellis out of USC. Now, Dave, at one point, now, 4x4, meaning they're each doing, a whole lap. They're each running a 400. Yep. And at one point, Kendall Ellis from USC is 5th. She is 5th. Once again, property of, I would assume, NCAA, property of probably, is it ESPN that we're getting this from? This is really amazing, but I've always loved track for reasons like this. I ran the 400 myself. This was a thing of beauty. This is Kendall Ellis from USC, the NCAA Championships, Hayward Field in Eugene, Oregon. This is what happens.
And look at Sydney McLaughlin. She's raced him into 5th place and closing.
Wow.
Her split's going to be interesting.
Oh, and USC bobbles the baton at the pass.
And that puts Kentucky in 4th. Oh, SC passing on the inside.
Oh.
I'm not sure if that was incidental contact necessarily, but Purdue is winning this race so far. Janaea Mitchell for Purdue on the anchor. Kendall Ellis for USC now into 3rd for Kentucky. That is Kale Clark.
Kale Clark, a great closer for Kentucky, and I just don't know if Purdue is going to get caught.
Not even talking about SC.
Wait, it's going to, unless they drop the baton. Purdue's going to win this, which we certainly didn't see.
Here comes SC.
USC is not going to catch Purdue, I don't think. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. Look what's just happening. USC wins the women's team title in the last meter.
You gotta be shitting me. Steve.
Unbelievable final leg.
I had Purdue.
Kendall Ellis.
God damn it.
50.0 on the split.
What a comeback.
You just got it. Wasn't that crazy?
It wasn't even close. She was past the stage where people would refer to down the stretch.
Yeah.
And when you're hitting that with that amount of foot speed lead, that talk about not closing properly.
But here's the thing. So then you go back, it was ESPN, and they say Steve was doing the play-by-play of the race. What was it that you said just moments before? I don't recall. You don't recall? Okay. Yeah, I'm going to recall. They couldn't lose this one even if they dropped the baton.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, they lost it.
Yeah. And did I also hear you got to be shitting me? Yeah, you did hear that one. Yeah, I bet heavily on Purdue. So that is awesome. That's why, track has always had that unbelievable kind of finish stuff. That's like in the Olympics.
Yep.
Dave, and you've covered a bunch of them, and you actually were probably at the race, well, I don't want to say of the century, but
of my lifetime. Yeah, I think so.
Seen Bolt run his last 100 meters.
Yes.
That one you put you notch beside you, and no one can take that away. And what's even better about it is how you got in.
Yeah. While I was working somewhere else and snuck in, and it cost me nothing.
Yeah. I mean, think about it. If you are going to pull some stuff, where even you go to the pearly gates, and there's St. Peter, and he goes, "Do I just see that you snuck in?" He's got, by the way, I would have snuck in. Go with it. Walk in. You're through.
That is first to only a number 2. When the Winnipeg Arena was around, there was a gate that would always open and close, and it would be unmanned at times. So I snuck into a Jets game late in the early part of the third period to see the Montreal Canadiens score 5 goals against the Jets and knock them off 6-5. It happened to be the same night that when Patrick Waugh debuted in the Montreal net with a white helmet.
Weird.
Yeah. Didn't know it at the time, but you saw it there and you went, "Oh, that's a new goaltender over there, Roy.
Yeah.
Is that Roy? Whatever."
And now you know the rest of the story. Awesome.
Just become best friends? Yup. You want to go do karate in the garage? Yup.
Yes, I do. Do you think if you just dedicated yourself to like all kinds of crazy physical stuff, so the girls looked after by somebody else, they're being driven around by somebody else. This is like a blue sky thing. Now you're working out every day with a guy like Tommy Europe and UFC stuff. Would you like to try UFC just once for a real fight?
Yes. When I was in the boxing council, I wanted to try boxing first.
Yeah. Of course you do. You have to.
I get the best ring robe ever.
Oh yeah. What's the guy in wrestling who has like little foreign objects and stuff like that? Is there a name for a guy like that, or is it a cheater?
Well, more of a heel.
A heel.
Yeah, we'd be heels.
Yeah,
we
we're heels.
We wouldn't be faces.
Yeah.
That's your face right there / jobber.
Yeah, that's it. No, trust me, that's a jobber. Have yourself a great day. Thank you, Tommy Europe.